Hi, I'm Mary LOGSDON, and once again, here I am at your library. It is June at your library here, and once again in June, we kick off our summer reading program at your library. We'd like to remind people that summer reading isn't only for children, although there is an awful lot going on for children and families on the first floor of the library. We'd like to remind you that we also have adult summer reading program, and we absolutely do have many adult readers here in the library who are always looking for some suggestions of the next great book to read. So today with me I have some staff members from the Adult Services Department who are going to share some of their ideas about great summer reading. So as I said, today we are going to have with us several library staff members who I know are familiar to our audience because the three of you do spend a good part of your work week here on the Adult Services floor at the reference desk. I have EMILYN. Good morning, EMILYN.
Good morning.
Jan.
Hello.
Hello, and Ellen.
Good morning.
All three of you are, as I said, for the most part at the Adult Services desk answering reference questions, helping people with their computer needs, and just really assisting folks as needed here in the library. One thing that we're excited about is actually helping people to find books to read. This summer, the Adult Summer Reading Program theme is, EMILYN, would you like to share?
Escape the ordinary.
Escape the ordinary.
And adults get to track their reading the same way that kids do. We have a place for people to sign up online. We also have some summer reading tracking sheets available at the service desk, so you can grab one if you're here with your kids, or you can grab one if you're here by yourself. And we can have people keep track of their books or their hours over the summer that they've read, and then they are entered in a drawing. We have a number of pretty cool prizes that we will be drawing for at the end of the reading program.
Terrific. Well, one of the things that we talked about, and why I'm happy that you three are here, is that when you say escape the ordinary, you can go a lot of different directions with that theme. And what we thought we would focus on today is escaping the ordinary by basically going someplace else. So I would love for you to start by sharing one of the books that you have that fits that theme.
Definitely. Some of my favorite travel books in the travel section are actually these food lovers guides. We have a few from around the Midwest. There's I have the Twin Cities and Kansas City right here, and the Chicago one is checked out right now. So I was going to focus on the Twin Cities guide because that's my more normal destination, and I love these guides because going to the Twin Cities, I mean, I'm just not as familiar with what's available, and I like good food, and so I want to be able to find a place that isn't going to disappoint when I do make the drive up there. So this guide is divided by city, so Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then landmarks, destinations, and then foodie favorites is what the author calls it. And it gives you an idea of how much you're probably going to spend while you're there per plate, and gives you an idea of which what their specialty is, so you can go in with an idea. And yeah, I definitely say it's a great one to take with you if you're heading to one of the major cities nearby.
So the series is called Food Lover's Guide to fill in the blank.
Yes.
Destination. Great.
Yes.
Thanks so much. Well, Jan, I know that you also have some treats to share with us in terms of travel books.
I do. And
Okay.
I'm going to start with a really showy one.
Great.
There is a group of islands in the Lesser Antilles in the Caribbean that are composed of 32 different islands. It's a mountainous region. There's a volcano, which also pulls the rain onto the island, so we're talking about rainforests. And the weather is 85 during the day, maybe 78 at night, so you can wear your shorts and your t-shirt, and if you're a real clothes horse, you could put on sandals. So it's a really fun look, and I saw it. It's new arrival.
Great.
It's already got people waiting for it to see, and it just jumped at me off the shelf because the photos are wonderful, and I really wanted people to see what we have to offer. I'll let Ellen show us some photos, and I will describe. Can you just imagine that you are this lone walker on this beach and look at those Caribbean blues?
Wow, gorgeous.
I spoke about the rainfall. This one has a waterfall, which are abundant upon the islands. A total topography, again seeing the mountains and the geographical differences in height. They are not well-traveled islands, so if people want to get away to something that's really unspoiled, this is a place. St. Vincent and the Grenadines are just gorgeous. A little island Caribbean architecture.
Love those colors.
Oh, the market. I want to go, talking about eating.
Yes,
I want to go
indeed.
there. Yes.
A food lover would be in paradise. Wow.
And just more Caribbean blues and water and beach and wow.
Great.
So I had to share.
Oh, that is a fabulous book. And as you said, it's in the new arrivals section.
It is.
Which is right at the top.
It's new, just purchased in November of this year.
Terrific. So that's at the top of the stairs when folks first get onto the second floor.
Yes.
All of our new arrivals, fiction and nonfiction, are right at the top of the stairs. So that's where you'll find that book when it's not in someone's hands because
That's
it's
right.
on hold. So thanks. Ellen, what have you got for us today to escape the ordinary?
I brought a book called 4 Seasons in Rome, and I like the subheading of this book as well. It's called On Twins, Insomnia, and the Biggest Funeral in the History of the World. It's many people are familiar with Anthony Doerr's book, All the Light You Cannot See.
Yes.
It's very popular. It is checked out. We have many copies that are checked out. So you might be familiar with that title, All the Light You Cannot See. This book he wrote about 12 years earlier. And after reading All the Light You Cannot See, I said, I need to go back and find out what this man has done.
Okay.
And this book is, as you might imagine, about a year in Rome. He won a prize called the Rome Prize. And he was able to travel with his wife and 2 infant twin sons
Wow.
to Rome for a year. So it's a really interesting book. It's beautifully written, as All the Light You Cannot See is. It describes the Rome streets, describes the markets, describes trying to use his Italian to buy groceries. At one point he confuses grapefruit and tomato, and he's asking for grapefruit sauce, grapefruit sauce. They're just not sure what he wants.
Yeah.
So he's having a great time. It's a really neat book about a snapshot of a place.
Okay.
He never really leaves Rome in this year. They don't have a car, and so it's a book about being absorbed in one particular place. And he does such a nice job describing it. He's also, while he's in Rome, writing All the Light You Cannot See.
Oh.
So those of you who have a great interest in that World War II era book, he's beginning the book here.
That's
He
fascinating.
talks about having 50 pages scratched out and a few photographs
Wow.
to prompt his thinking about this book that is eventually published 10 years later.
That's great.
So if you're interested in this man, he writes short stories as well, but this is, again, a neat little memoir of his time in Rome. So I really enjoyed it.
Great. And it's nice to, as you said, if there's a book you're waiting to read and you can't get your hands on it, I think that's pretty typical for library users to say, well, what else can I find by this author?
Yes.
So that's a real great find. So thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
EMILYN, do you have anything else that you might like to share with us?
So I wanted to share this abroad at home. I guess my theme is a little closer to home for these two. So I thought not everyone has the time or the money or the inclination for long travels abroad, but this book focuses on the United States and Canada and where you can get international festivals, international foods. It does things like talk about the Chinatown and what you can find in Chinatowns or across the United States. So it's full of ideas for those festivals and special events. So there are some great ideas even just for destinations in the Midwest. So there's a Finnish sauna in Minnesota. Didn't know that. And the Latino district in Omaha, it's 3 hours away. So it's got some great ideas for a week or a weekend.
Great. Abroad at home, again, that's a new arrival, a new book. So these are very current ideas of what's actually likely to be available to you soon. Yeah, that's super. Great, thanks. Jan, do you have another book to share?
I do. I will zero in just a little bit more and bring you to Iowa
Great.
alone. This is a book which is available in our reference collection, so it is for use within the library because it's brand new summer things to do in Iowa. It's put out by the State of Iowa Tourism Department, and it's called the Iowa Travel Guide. So it will tell you every single festival in every small town in Iowa or large city. It will tell you places you can eat, museums, historical facts, places to stay, things of that nature. So if you, again, are limiting your travel time and your travel destination this summer, there are lots of things, this whole book full of things you can do right here in our home state.
Great, thanks. Ellen, do you have something else?
I do. I'll go the other direction and share a book about, it's called Around the World in 50 Years. So this book, of course, isn't very, I wouldn't do what this man has done in this. Traveling to every single country on earth is beyond most people's reach. However, it's fascinating to read about. And I like to imagine what it must be like to travel to 193 countries within a lifetime. He did not intend to do this. He had one large adventure when he was in his 20s in which he traveled around the world and found that it was so fascinating that he thought, well, I've already got 36 countries down. How about if I try for the rest?
Wow.
And what I find fascinating about this book is he spends a great deal of time discussing what is a country and what does it mean to travel there. So he takes some time to define, is Vatican City a country? Yes. Is Taiwan a country? Depends who you speak to. He spends a great deal of time talking about that, then talking about what it means to be there. He travels to the capital city of every country.
My.
And he tries to travel in one direction across each country, except Russia, he said. too much. But in most cases, he traveled the length or breadth of each country, and talks about the fascinating people he met and the hazards and the troubles and the delays and all kinds of things. So it's a fun book about the misadventures of travel. So fascinating for those people who might want to just armchair travel through the world.
And that's Around the World in 50 Years.
Yeah, it's Albert Podell.
Podell.
My Adventure to Every Country on Earth.
Great. Do you have any other, are there any other travel books on the table here that we haven't yet mentioned?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So this one I picked up, The Geography of Bliss. It's not a travel guide. It is a travel memoir type of book. and it's an interesting way to travel the globe vicariously. The man who wrote it, Eric Weiner, I'm not really sure. The subtitle is One Grump's Search for the Happiest Places in the World. And he is kind of a dour fellow. I mean, it definitely comes through in his writing. He's a sourpuss. But he decides to visit all the happiest places in the world after having been a reporter for NPR, covering all of the most horrible, unhappiest places in the world for 20 years. And so he starts out by discussing how difficult it is to actually nail down what are the happiest places in the world. How do you decide what the happiest places are? And who measures that? So he talks to a professor in happiness studies, and decides on some places and goes from there. So 10 places from Bhutan to Iceland and India, and he tries to figure out why they are so darn happy. But it's definitely one of those books that makes you want to go out and travel yourself.
Okay. And does he lighten up and... Okay, read the book. Very interesting perspective. That's really fascinating. And then I think Jan's got one more book.
I have one more too.
Great.
This one is called Where the Road Ends, A Home in the Brazilian Rainforest. It's written by Labinka LeBreton, and she was a concert pianist who lived with her husband, Robin, in Washington. They left everything behind. He was with the World Bank, and when he decided to follow his dream, it was to buy and maintain a farm in Brazil. So they are in a mountainous region as the book takes place, and living in a broken, run-down farmstead while they build a home that they can inhabit. She does not have her piano for her concerts. She misses that greatly, but she thinks that she will allow her husband to get it out of his system and try this agricultural experiment that he has been planning for some time. That was in 1989. As it turns out, they meet bandits, they encounter families that have multi-generational vendettas, they encounter women who are not allowed to be productive outside the home, and so Binka starts a farm wife empowerment group in someone's farm kitchen, and they take it from there. As it turns out, eventually they establish an agricultural and conservation foundation to help educate Brazilian children and do some, what is for that region, innovative farm techniques to show. They start a dairy farm and showing as a model for their neighbors, things that can be done in the area. It was just delightful, colorful, and really fun, and I was as surprised as the author was about their longevity there.
So there's an example of a travel idea that turned into a change in life.
It certainly did.
And I think I just so much appreciate all three of you being here to talk about what a range of books, memoir, travel guide, book lavish with photographs, ideas near and far for escaping the ordinary. If you are interested in learning about any other books that EMILYN, Jan, and Ellen recommend, we do have a staff picks area here in the library. Ellen, do you want to just tell me a little bit about what staff picks is all about?
Sure.
And where to find the staff picks, because people are asking.
Yes. If you're looking for staff picks, the location is upstairs here on the east wall near the magazines.
Okay.
So that's where you can find staff picks. And we have about 20 staff members who choose books, fiction, nonfiction, all kinds of books. And we also have volunteers picks there.
Great.
So a number of our regular volunteers also choose books. So you can find, if you're looking for a recommendation, you can browse that section. We even have a little blurb that each person wrote that gives a sense of what they like.
Okay.
So if you read Jan's staff picks blurb, or EMILYN's staff picks blurb, or Mary's, or my own, it'll say what we tend to like.
Great.
And that might help you to choose or to know where to browse. So feel free to come up and take a look at that shelf.
Terrific. So I hope that folks will do that. And now we are actually going to share with you the book jackets of each of the books mentioned here this morning. So I know you want to race to the library catalog and put them on hold. And so stay tuned for that. I'm so glad that you've had a chance today to hear from some of our fabulous adult services staff members who obviously are avid readers and think all the time about ways to help you escape the ordinary by finding great reads and to put together travel plans and just to learn information or just to be entertained with some of the library materials that we have here. So please do stop by the Adult Services Desk, give us a call, send us an email by going to Ask a Librarian on our website, and they will be happy to give you some more suggestions. You can also escape the ordinary this summer by coming to the library and to attend a library program. Check out page 1, which you can have emailed to you if you wish. Or just pick up a copy here in the library. We have some wonderful library programs coming up in June and great plans for July as well. Don't forget that our Bookends at the Bandshell series begins the last full weekend in June and extends through the last full weekend in July. And with Friday afternoon concerts each Friday in between those 2 weekends. We have live local music happening all summer long over at the lovely Bandshell Park through a partnership with the Ames Parks and Recreation folks. And we have other standalone programs happening in June to include a genealogy help session and 2 author programs, as well as an opportunity to escape to the wild and learn about survival and camping techniques on a Sunday afternoon. Those are just a couple of ideas to get you out of your home and into the library to explore this summer. So please look at the details on page 1. There are far too many for me to talk about here today. Thanks so much for being with me today. This is Mary LOGSDON at your library.